Yes, a very good morning to all of you. Right? So let's just do an analysis of the question paper for the November 24. ऐसा पहली बार हुआ है that institute has also issued the MCQs, right, which they have asked in the exam. So that's sure wonderful resource for us when we are preparing for our further exams. Okay. Right, so if we do an analysis of the question paper for the November 24, if you first would like to have a look at the MCQs, right? So we've seen that there are these 15 MCQs which have been asked, where each MCQ is for the 2 marks, and then you have the 3 integrated case scenarios. Under each of them, there are the 4 questions which have been asked, and then 3 independent MCQs. Okay. Right. So integrated case scenario 1, you see the 4 questions over there. Out of that, 3 are from the auditing standards, 240, 610, 710, and 1 question regarding the CARO 2020, specifically regarding the clause 7, the payment of statutory dues. Okay. Right, then case scenario 2, oh my God, again, all loaded with standards over there. Right, so 560, 260, 580, and again, 1 question over there regarding the professional ethics, right, regarding substantial interest. If you're a guest lecturer in a college, can you do the audit of that college? We say no. Yes, you cannot do you're a guest faculty, you cannot do the audit of that college. Okay, right, then independent and 1 question regarding the ESG, SDG assurance, when you have the 9 principles of the BRSR, right? So the 9th principle, they are asking what is not included in the 4 elements of the 9th principle. Okay. Right, then 10th question, again a question on the ethics, right? So we see 2 questions regarding the ethics over there, and then 1 question independent one regarding the PSU, the public sector undertaking. So 1 question is regarding the COPU, the Committee on the Public Undertaking, and another question I suppose is regarding the audit design matrix. Okay, what is not included in the table which is prepared for the audit design matrix? Okay, right, then integrated case scenario 3, right? So that is regarding the 2 questions over there regarding the bank audit, wherein one they are telling you to compute the DTL, the demand and time liabilities, and another one where they are telling you to compute the capital to risk asset ratio, right? The capital adequacy ratio. Okay, and then 1 question regarding the NBFC, wherein they are saying that this NBFC, these are the activities which are being conducted, and then which layer of the NBFC is it, like whether it is a base layer, whether it is a middle layer, an upper layer, or a top layer NBFC. Okay, right? So you say, yes, ma'am, we know this. CA final standards important, ethics important, and bank audit also asked in every exam. But you just look at the 30 marks of the MCQs in the exam, and that I see 6 questions from the standards, that is 12 marks over there, 2 questions from the ethics, that is, 4 marks over there, then bank audit 2 questions, that is again 4 marks. PSU is a pleasant surprise, wherein we see 2 questions from the PSUs for the MCQ, right? So again, that is 4 marks, and then you see the ESG, SDG assurance, the CARO 2020, and also the NBFC. Okay, right? So this is the discussion only regarding the MCQ part. Now let us come to the theory part of the paper. Okay, right? So in the theory part of the paper, again, if we look at, this is the November 24 question paper analysis, and before that we have the May 24. Obviously, I'll keep on adding the further columns over there, May, November 25, and so. Right, so you see the first question over there, it is regarding SQC1, right? The elements of the quality control system, LEHM, they've asked the question regarding the M, monitoring. Right, then CARO, the inventory working capital, right? So if the company has been sanctioned working capital limit in excess of 5 crore at any point of time during the year, then what does it say? Whether the quarterly return statements submitted to the bank financial institutions, are they in agreement with the books of account? Okay. Right, then a question regarding the SRE 2410. Right, engagements to review the historical financial statements performed by an independent auditor of the entity. What are the conditions, preconditions while accepting such an engagement? Okay. Right, then question number 2 over there, again question number 2A, professional ethics 811. Right, the government audit, yes, do you need to send an NO request for NOC? Yes. Generally, we say that you need to wait for a reasonable time. But in case of government audit, you can give a conditional acceptance. This is one of the rules for NOC that we study. Right? So you can give a conditional acceptance and you can start with the more important work immediately. Okay. Right, then SE 610. So 610 was there in the MCQ also, and it is there in the theory part of the paper also. Okay, whether statutory auditor, you can take the direct assistance from internal auditor. Yes, and in that case, what documentation is required to be kept? Right, then again, a new chapter revised. Earlier in the old syllabus, it used to be automated environment. Now it has become the DA, the digital auditing and assurance. In that, they've asked the questions, the steps regarding the vendor setup and the modifications. Right, so what is the RPA, the process automation for the same? Okay, right, then a question regarding the professional ethics and liabilities of auditors. So there they've asked a question that you're giving false particulars to ICAI in any information form, return or statement. So guilty of misconduct under 322. Right, then 600 is basically regarding group auditor. The parent company auditor has to use the work of the subsidiary company auditor, and what evaluation is required to be done, and also what documentation is to be kept. Right, so group audit, we say, we have to apply SA 600. Right, so that is why I have mentioned 600 over there. Right, then investigation. So we have that chapter on due diligence, investigation, forensic accounting. In that investigation, we talk about investigation of fraud in cash receipts, cash payments, then the supplier's ledger, the customer's ledger, and the defalcation of inventory. So they've asked a question regarding the investigation of fraud through the supplier's ledger. Okay, right, then key audit matters. Okay, what should be the introductory content of the key audit matter paragraph in the audit report, the drafting. Right, then 805, reporting. What is 805? When you've been appointed to do an audit of a part of the financial statement, like single financial statement, specific element, account, or item. Right, so in case if your auditors report on the complete financial statements with an adverse opinion, then for a part of the financial statements, whether you can give an unmodified opinion or no. Right, so that's the question regarding 805. Right, then ESG, SDG assurance, that is your emerging areas. They've asked a question regarding climate-related risks. Okay, when you are the statutory auditor, you understand the entity and its environment. So as a part of your understanding, you also understand the climate-related risks. You may also mention about those in the audit report and also consider the other information. And so when you're doing your statutory audit, you also consider the climate-related risks. So role of auditor in relation to the climate-related risks. Right, then 550. Oh my God, they'd never asked this question since the time I started teaching. And finally, they asked it. We asked management, how many related parties you have? They said 400. You did your audit procedure and you come to know these are 410 related parties. Right, so now you've come to know about 10 newly identified related parties, unidentified, undisclosed related party relationships and transactions. What are the audit procedures which are required to be performed? Right, then a question regarding the SAE 3400, the examination of the future, the prospective financial information. Okay, as an auditor, when you have to give an assurance, what you need to check in the presentation disclosure. Okay, whether assumptions have been disclosed, whether the accounting policies have been disclosed, any change in accounting policy has been disclosed. Then also, what does it say? The prospective financial information should be informative and not misleading. Then also the date on which the prospective financial information has been prepared. So that is what the auditor needs to check in the presentation disclosure. Okay. Next question again on the ethics, wherein they are asking a question regarding the fundamental principle. So May 24, they asked a question regarding confidentiality. Now they've asked a question, a detailed question over there regarding the PC, that is the professional competence and the due care. Okay. Right, then the last question number 6, NBFC. So, we have the percentages regarding standard, substandard, doubtful, unsecured, secured, 1 year, 1 to 3 year, more than 3 year, and loss asset, and how much provision is required to be, what provision is required to be made. Right, so they've given some computation. We have to say that this is wrong and this would be the correct computation of the provision for the NBFC. Right, then a question regarding 4400. Which is regarding the IUP, the agreed upon procedures regarding the financial information. Right, so again, the acceptance part, the engagement letter. Right, then again, a question regarding the ethics, wherein, you are a CA in service and you're working as an employee and you're taking a cut from the CA, lawyer, agent, broker, customer by way of commission or gratification. And the last one, the PSU, wherein you've been told to look into the impropriety, right? Look into the improper, avoidable, and the wasteful expenditure. So, what are the functions of the auditor in that case? Okay. I'm very sure that those of you who would have managed to see the video so far, and if you have not started any study of the subject, for you it would be like, oh my God, like what is she talking about? Okay, but yeah, I am talking about the questions which are there included in our study material and which have been asked in your exams. Okay, and so what do we notice? Okay, those 10 new standards which have been reintroduced, right? The 8,000 series, the 2,400, 3,400, and the 4,400 series, right? So we see around, like one question is coming from each of like 800 series, say at least one question, 2,400 out of the 2400, 2410, one question, 3,000 series, one question, and 4,400, one question. Right, so more or less, we have seen that from those 10 standards, out of the 46 standards applicable for your exam, you see that 4 questions have been asked. Right, then again, we see the ethics and the liabilities of the auditor, that is the chapter number 19. Again, 4 questions have been asked. Right, then these chapter regarding digital auditing and assurance. Again, every exam, we generally see one question. So that one question over here. Then ESG, SDG assurance, again a new chapter. So again, one question in the theory and one question in the MCQ part of the paper. And bank audit, surprisingly, not there in the theory part of the paper. But in the MCQ, we've seen 4 marks of the question asked regarding the bank audit. Okay. Right, and then NBFC, we see a question in the MCQ as well as in the theory part of the paper. PSU, again, 2 questions in the MCQ and 1 in the theory part. So this time PSU had a lottery, for the November 24 exam, like 8 marks of PSU. Generally, we say PSU chapter is like a visiting chapter. कभी आया तो आता है, नहीं तो नहीं भी आता है क्वेश्चन, पर भाई इस टाइम आ गया तो 8 मार्क्स आ गया. Okay, whatever it is. Okay. Right. So, these highlighted topics, around 45 marks has been asked from the standards, the 10 new standards, then the ethics, and also the 2 new chapters, the digital auditing assurance and the ESG, SDG. And it has been the same for your May 24 exams also. Okay. Right. So if I have made a list of all the 46 engagement and quality control standards, and then I have put over your MCQs and theory, and May 24, we don't know what were the MCQs asked, right? So only the theory part. And then ethics, liabilities of the auditor. So again, the basic topics over there, and then the list of the 34 clauses of the ethics, right? So what questions have come in the exam, right? So we see that ethics, in the theory part in May 24 also, 17 marks. We don't know in the MCQ part, right? So now in November 24, 18 marks in the theory part of the paper and 4 marks in the MCQ part of the paper. So 22. And bhar ke, like, to the heart's content, the questions have been asked from the ethics chapter over there. And then if you look in the standards, right? So May 24, 39 marks asked from the standards. And then over here in November 24, 44 marks asked in the theory part of your paper and 12 marks in the MCQ. Right, so we see around just a moment. Right, so number 24, we see that total, some around ethics and standards, MCQ theory put together, 78 marks. You understand? These standards, 46 engagement and quality control standards, the 34 clauses of the ethics, and the theory MCQ part put together, 78 marks of your paper. What is the total, the total size of your paper? 118 marks. And a total, including the options given to you, out of which you have to attempt 100 marks. So out of this 178 marks have been asked from the standards, the ethics, right? So 46 standards and the 34 clauses of the ethics, the theory MCQ put together. Okay, right. But yeah, saying that, okay, yes, ma'am, so from that can be reached to a conclusion that we should study standards and ethics with more priority. Yeah, so let's draft it, draft it correctly. We should study it with more priority. We should study it properly. But that does not ever mean that we can ever leave the other chapters in option. Because I simply put it this way, that, if you leave something in option, it's simply you're telling ICAI that this I will study after 6 months. because I see AI by hook or by crook will ensure that you study everything. I always say, that you are in a hurry to become a chartered accountant. I see AI is in no hurry. And they say, take your own time. We all know, you are not any one who is privileged that, you don't study a few chapters or, you depend on your luck or so. Okay. Right? Because a big surprise over there is PSU. Like 2 questions in the MCQ and one question in the theory part of the paper being asked over there. Okay. Right. So I hope this analysis, and if you want to have a look at the question paper, right? So this is the question paper wherein I'll record a separate video wherein I'll discuss these MCQs in the question paper and also a quick go through of the theory questions being asked in the paper. But apart from that, I hope this particular analysis has given you some insights. You've given me so much in around 15 minutes of the time of the video so far, right? So you've given me that much of your time. So I hope that this video has been beneficial. And what are your strategies which have been successful, or areas where you think that you have identified that, oh, this is where I missed but I missed it was a wrong analysis by me. So anything of that sort, please let me know in the chat box, right? So that it's beneficial to the students for their further study. Okay. Right. So this is as per the our books, the module 1, wherein we have the the 46 standards, the risk assessment, internal control, CARO, and then the module 2, wherein we have the chapter number 12 to 19, starting from DA, GA, BA, NA, PA, we call it as digital auditing, group audit, bank audit, NBFC audit, PSU audit, internal audit, FA, that is forensic accounting, and then after that, the SDG, ESG assurance, and the ethics and the liabilities of the auditor. Okay, right? So that's the analysis. I think all the sheets which I had in Excel, I have already, discussed each one of them with you, right? So May 25, time to roll up your sleeves and get the right direction for your studies and start preparing. May 25 onward, right? So it's always for any further exams after that. But thank you so much for your patience.